You're listening to a Burnt Toast production. The butchers find him at the Greasy Spoon. It has taken him too long to find the gate, pacing a stretch of Soho pavement and peering at the small scrap of map the girl had given him. The map, like all such maps, is a lie. It's the lie he is wanting, but the 3 a.m. streetlight buries its biggest fib. In the end, he dares switch his phone back on and use the torch to find his way. And there it is. Bernie's Caff. Its fogged windows like welcome lanterns in the gloom. Sanctuary. He's met by a fog of bacon. The interior of the cafe promises salmonella, yellowed fat gathering in crevices and grime making a feature of the cracks in the plasterwork. This place belongs to a lost, dusky age of British cuisine, when an awareness of cholesterol, hygiene and flavour was held only by immigrants or medical professionals. His office suit doesn't fit the place. The other punters wear donkey jackets and Macintoshes. An old woman in a head hanky stares at him as her egg sandwich pours glistening orange yolk across her fingers. There's no sign of the girl. He checks his watch as if it could tell him anything useful. With a start, he switches off his phone in his pocket. Resigning himself to a long wait, he picks up one of the typed menus from between 2 plastic tomatoes of ketchup. He doesn't know what he wants. He doesn't even know if he wants to eat. Now he thinks about it, he isn't entirely sure he knows who he is. There is a curious stillness inside him that is quite new. Nothing pulls him in any direction. Nothing feels right or wrong. Nothing makes him study the menu for something he has no obligation to eat. The cafe's dirty charm doesn't inspire him to order anything more substantial than a mug of tea, which arrives already too strong, a tea bag floating like something neglected in a pond. The cafe's owner, a portly middle-aged bloke with coffee in his shirt and Brill cream in his hair, wipes his nose on the back of his wrist as he delivers it. "Are you paying, then?" He pulls out a crumpled $5. "I've only got cash, sorry." Turning back from the kitchen, the owner mutters something about tourists and shoves the note in his pocket without any murmur of change. He wonders if he feels free. He has spent much of his life wondering how it would feel to live without any sense of destiny. Now he is somewhere fate can't touch him, and he only feels scared. Is that who he is, when he isn't himself? A coward? Everything he is, and should be, is in a jar in his rucksack, still slung across his right shoulder. All of him, and more than that, so much more than anyone could know. The girl still isn't here. She had been there tonight. She had saved him. Why didn't she come? He looks at his watch again out of habit. Is it his habit, or has he picked it up from the other bloke? Will he lose it? Are there things he will miss now he is nobody? The cafe door jingles. A second later, it smashes. A butcher has thrown it open with a tanned arm, fists like a Parma ham. Glass explodes over the lino in a grim celebration. He turns and the butcher sees him. Its good eye locks onto him. Its other checks for trouble. It snatches one of the smaller knives from its grubby leather belt and strides straight for him, crashing through a pair of wooden tables, punters and all, like they should have known better than to be there. Once, he would have known what to do. He would have felt the pull of possibility. Doors opening and closing, mapping escape or peril. Tonight, he is on his own. He picks up the tea he hasn't drunk and throws it in the butcher's face. The butcher's head steams. The butcher does not slow. He grabs both of the ketchup tomatoes and blasts red sauce in the butcher's mismatched eyes, blinding it. He steps aside as the butcher crashes through his table into the counter, where its knife sticks fast in the Laminex. He runs for the door, but another butcher is waiting, tall and thin, bald on the side, a triangle of scalp pasting on thick black hair. It grins at him with someone else's teeth and takes a cleaver from its belt. It knows what is in his rucksack. He runs back through the cafe towards the kitchen. As he passes, the first butcher slashes at him with a paring knife. The blade slips through his suit jacket and shirt with terrifying politeness. "You won't even know I'm here." Even the gash to his right bicep is too clean and swift to hurt until the knife's business is done. By the time he is crashing through the kitchen, scattering sieves and fry pans in his wake, it hurts like hell. The butchers follow, relentless, unbothered. He tumbles out the back door into a sulphurous alley, light rain oily on the cobbles, blood soaking his shirt cuff. He stops. He doesn't know which way to go. There are no clues, no map. In his haste and hesitation, he slips on the back step and rolls head first into the gutter. A scrap of brick dents his forehead. He tastes blood in his mouth. One of the butchers splinters the back door of the cafe. He doesn't look to see which one. As he fades into nothing, he can hear horses. He wonders if they are for him. The Terrible Business of Salmon Dusk. Written and read by Myke Bartlett. Book 1. How to Disappear Completely. Episode 3. Theo is woken by a car alarm. There is already a tentative suggestion of pale light through the bamboo blinds, as if the whole day has been woken early, not just the street. She feels beside the bed for her watch, dips her fingers into a half-finished glass of wine, and starts to feel like day-old porridge. Rolling over, she finds the bed empty. There is unease in her gut, even now, but it might be the hangover. Had they argued last night? Josh had seemed quiet on the night bus home, but she wasn't sure that was her fault. The hangover tightens its melancholic grip. Soon, everything will be her fault. She lies there in darkness, listening to housemate voices in the hall, counting the opening and closing of the front door, the jangles of keys. Her bladder is full, but she can't face company. Can't even bring herself to get dressed. Lifting the duvet, she's about to make a toilet run starkers when she hears footsteps creak overhead. Buggerette. In 3 months, she has never met the 6th flatmate who lives in the box room at the back of the first floor. Her other flatmates had, although each has been vague on the details. He's a writer. So had said Bettina, the serious-faced German. Keeps odd hours, tall with glasses, always pays his rent. Moved in a few weeks before you did. Over a pint a few nights later, Canadian Justin had averred, I wouldn't call him tall, and I don't remember glasses. He's a student. Japanese, doesn't speak much English, keeps to himself. Guess it's a cultural thing, eh? Ellie was a student. She was also English, one of the few bona fide Brits Theo had met since moving to London. She had a small child in Eastbourne she never talked about. Passing a tinfoil curry during Theo's first house meal, she had said, He's not Japanese. Well, maybe not Japanese, Justin said, scratching his beard. And he's not a student or a writer. I am certain I heard writer, Bettina said. He works nights in a warehouse, Amazon or something. I've heard him come in around 4. He usually leaves before we get home from work. There's no big mystery. Theo had watched all this with a kind of ironic enjoyment, suspecting there was a punchline pending. This was a house initiation ritual, perhaps, a rolling joke at the expense of the newcomers. The ghost in the box room. Josh had shrugged it off. Theo had tried to. She wanted to get better at that. But you have seen him? Ellie had hesitated. Of course, Justin added. We all have. When we interviewed him, yes? Bettina said. All three looked awkward and embarrassed. Theo had expected the joke to die there, but it went on. She tried not to take it to heart. One odd thing. There was evidence of a 6th flatmate. Dirty dishes, a fogged bathroom mirror, footsteps when nobody else should be home. Josh had been resolute in his apathy. Far as I'm concerned, a flatmate you never see is the best kind of flatmate. Over the next few weeks, Theo's intense curiosity subsided into a kind of delicious anticipation. She realized that the mystery was more enjoyable than any answers could be. Once or twice she had hesitated on opening her bedroom door, not wanting to bump into number 6 in the hallway. She preferred living with a multitude of possible flatmates rather than a single, no doubt disappointing, certainty. She listens for his footsteps now, hears another crack that could be him, rats, or a poltergeist. Bladder or no, she is half asleep again before something bothers her. Josh didn't say goodbye. That was out of character. Most mornings he takes a cruel pleasure in waking her, especially from a hangover. Sitting up, she realizes what else is missing. Everything. Half of everything, at least. Every sign or relic of Josh has gone. Every photo, every dirty sock, the pile of trashy books he bought from the market in Greenwich. There was nothing in this room that Theo hasn't put there. Josh? Her voice sounds odd in the hollow room. It echoes back at her, accusing her of something she doesn't yet understand. Gripped by a nameless panic, she pulls on yesterday's outfit and, stumbling into the hall, finds her coat hanging alone on the rack by the door. Josh's bike, ignored since first bought on loot, has vanished. The bathroom door opens without her knocking, and the tiles are hiding nothing. The air is cold and dry. There is no toothbrush beside hers in the I Heart Perth mug, no sign of his razor in the soap tray. She realizes now what she has known with impossible certainty since she woke. Josh has gone. Hurrying back downstairs, she digs through the pockets of her coat for her phone, expecting a text message. "Sorry, thanks for everything. You're scary when you're angry. Bye." But there are no messages. This silence frightens more than angers her. What could she have done to deserve such cruelty? She thumbs through to her recently called list, ready to have it out. His number is gone. Work, mobile, gone. Theo catches her forehead. Has he really taken the trouble to delete himself? She logs into her Gmail. He isn't there either. Past messages and emails, photos of past shared dinners, erased. With deft thoroughness, he has cut himself from her life. There is noise from the kitchen. She tidies away her panic and allows herself a few moments of hope. But it is only Bettina, dressed for work with a triangle of toast between her teeth, standing at the end of the table and checking email on her laptop. She lifts her eyebrows at Theo as she enters. "Sorry, I thought you'd gone," Theo says, and hesitates. She isn't sure how to ask the pending question. "Did you see Josh this morning?" Annoyed at the interruption, Bettina takes a bite of her toast. "Who is Josh?" The joke is thin, more than she expects from Bettina, but she takes it. "Yeah, I've been asking myself that a lot lately." "I'm sorry?" I mean, he's a mystery sometimes, most of the time these days." "Who?" Now come the stirrings of fear in her gut. "Josh? Who is Josh?" Theo laughs, just once. A sting of embarrassment leaves a welt of anger in her chest. Has this woman really never learned his name? "My boyfriend. I didn't know you had a boyfriend. It's not a problem. We're a share house, not a nunnery." "You're not being serious?" Bettina scoffed. "Why would I care if you get a boyfriend? We were always together when we first got the room. Well, you needn't have kept it a secret." "I didn't. We didn't. Why are you doing this?" "Doing what?" "He deleted his number from my phone. All his texts and emails. Okay, that's him. But what have I done to you?" Bettina snaps her laptop shut and shoves it in her armpit. "Theo, I don't know what you're talking about." "Where is he?" "I'm going to be late." As she turns to go, Bettina takes her first good look at Theo. Her irritation subsides into concern. "Theo, honestly, I don't know any Josh. I've never met Josh. I don't know anything about him. If you have a boyfriend, I don't care. I'm not sure why you think it has anything to do with me." "Okay, sorry. Right. I'm losing it. He'll turn up. It's fine." "Okay." Bettina hesitates, measuring lateness against decency, taking in Theo's crumpled work clothes. "You know it's rent week next week." "I know, yes." Theo waits for the footsteps down the hall, the front door closing, before heading once more for her coat to retrieve her cigarettes. Standing by the open kitchen window, she allows herself to feel the first cold notes of sorrow. She lets her eyes mist and tucks a strand of copper hair behind her right ear. Already, she is starting to be practical. There are bills pending, rent is due. She can console herself with economics. If he wants to ghost her, he can ghost her. It was his problem. No, sod that. She has to know. You've been listening to The Terrible Business of Salmon and Dusk. Book 1, How to Disappear Completely. Written and read by Myke Bartlett. You've been listening to a Burnt Toast production. You're listening to a Burnt Toast production. The Terrible Business of Salmon Dusk. Written and read by Myke Bartlett. Book 1. How to Disappear Completely. Episode 2. The Puffin Bar has started to fill with the Friday's worth of suits, and the DJ's trendy lounge music has shifted up a couple of notches by the time Josh arrives, his tie loose around an open collar. It's a warm night, sticky with the promise of a storm, and punters are at the bar in t-shirts, sandals, and three-quarter-length trousers. Theo has been there a good hour and is already 2 pints in at the corner table, a bag of dry roasted peanuts open for autopsy. There is a paper sprawled in front of her, with half a dozen job ads circled. Theo isn't qualified for any of them, but that's okay. She has no intention of applying for any of them. Waitressing feels like a narrow escape, and she isn't sure she is really ready to commit to anything else just yet. Only the impossible appeals, but she's smart enough to know when she is already beaten. She knows Josh will see things differently, but isn't sure when he had started. She needs to be looking forward to seeing him, but realizes that she isn't. She's used to counting on him for his lightness, his ease and optimism, but something has come between them since moving to London. He has changed in ways Theo can't explain and can't help feeling are her fault. After all, it had been her idea to come, her dream for as long as she could remember. As a child, with the Perth summer at the window, she was craving English drizzle. Josh was agnostic, but came anyway. "This is it," Josh said 3 months ago, peering out the train window as they rode from Heathrow to Islington, brown suburban gardens and a low grey sky. "Where are the skyscrapers?" "You're thinking of New York," she told him. "I want my money back." That day, she was itching with excitement, but it didn't last. Theo had expected she would know what to do here, that she would recognise the life waiting. Back home, she felt like she had inherited somebody else's life, a charity shop life, with the wrong name itching on the tag. Here, she could find something bespoke. Josh, for his part, had fared better. After a sullen month, he found a proper job and slotted into London in much the same way Theo had intended for herself. Most irritating was that he didn't seem at all pleased by this achievement. Instead, he adopted a jaded air that, to Theo, bordered on precocious. Tonight he arrives tired, kisses the top of her head, and drops into the chair across from her. He used to sit next to her. She is still getting used to him in a suit, unable to shake the sense he's in fancy dress, a boy in his dad's clobber. The brown hair, cut short for the interview, is starting to grow out in a shaggy mop, but there is little left of the student she had fallen in love with. If that troubles her, it's the reminder that she still feels like a student, like she's still practicing. Josh counts the empty glasses but doesn't say anything, picks a peanut or two before going to the bar and coming back with a fresh set of pints. "What was it then? A week and a half? 2? Sipping a lager and lime, Theo blinks like she doesn't understand. "Your shift finished at 7. It's 6:30, so what is it? Early release for good behaviour?" There it is again, that drollness. Where does that come from? She puts down her pint. "Well, you've spoiled the surprise now. And it was 6 weeks. You know rent is due next week." "I know that. When did you start knowing these things?" "What are you going to do?" "Well, I'll call Mum and Dad." "I meant about a job. I could ask about temping in our office." His kindness annoys her. She has the sense that something has gone wrong with this scene. Josh has somehow found himself with her script. He is the hopeless one, the follower. She's the one who makes things happen. This was all her idea. "Well, there have to be other jobs," he says. She thinks of the unsent letters on her laptop. The West End Theatre needing a stagehand, the TV production company needing a runner, the Piccadilly record store needing staff on the rock floor. She has polished those letters again and again until she is sure it's too late to send them. "I think other people already have them," she says. "I found work." "Yeah, that's not helping." She turns the pint glass, creating semicircular patterns on the tabletop. "I used to think I was gifted. It turns out I just went to a good school." Josh sits back in his chair, lifting his pint. "I feel like there's something I'm good at, something I should be doing, but it hasn't come up yet. It wasn't at home. Maybe it's not here. But if I'm in the wrong place, if I'm doing the wrong thing, I'll never..." She realizes Josh's gaze has slipped over her shoulder to the TV in the corner. Evening soap opera with the sound off. Sorry, are you actually listening to me? He nods, halfway apologetic. I wasn't sure if you wanted me to agree or disagree. I wanted you to listen. Okay, I'm listening. Forget it. He doesn't argue. She watches him fight the gravity of the screen. The male gaze, immune to everything but TV and cleavage. He looks tired in a way she hasn't seen before, and she wonders about the distance between them. She isn't sure when she last looked at him properly. Are you having an affair? What? His reaction is less than she was expecting. She wonders if that is better or worse. Even now the blue light of the screen flexes in his eyes. Is he making a show of not paying attention? There was a boy this morning. He stopped me in the street and said he could help me with you. With me? He said he could help me find you. He knew my name. Now Josh is interested. He puts his pint down, fast and clumsy. Hang on! What do you mean, knew your name? He called out my name, that's why I turned around. He said he could help me find you. I didn't know you were missing. Now I'm wondering if you are. Are you sleeping with someone else? Josh ignores her. What did he look like? I don't know. White socks? Indian, Pakistani, maybe. Funny hat, coat. I felt like I knew him from somewhere. Oh, and he was wearing 2 watches. For some reason, this squeezes Josh by the throat and pulls him in across the table. What did he say to you exactly, word for word? This intensity unsettles Theo. She has the feeling she's missing something obvious and terrible. He said he was here to help find you. He asked how many boyfriends I had, and when I didn't know what he was talking about, he buggered off. Why are you looking like that? Josh blinks, sitting back too quickly and nearly knocking over his seat. I'm not looking like anything. He picks up his pint, but seems to have forgotten how to hold it. It sits in his hand at the wrong angle for his mouth. He puts it down and tries again. Wow, Theo says. She can see his pulse galloping in his throat. I thought I was joking about the affair. He sounds like a street magician, T. He probably walked off when you didn't give him enough information for a cold read. Theo isn't ready to move on. Are you secretly interesting? What? You know, some days you look at someone you've known forever, and it's like you've never seen them before. I feel like I don't know you at all. You could have a secret life. You could be interesting. Right, because I'm not interesting. You remember what my writing tutor said? Last term. My last term. I told you. Josh blinks, blankly. Did you? She said I should try to find more interesting friends. Like, that was my best hope. Not very kind. She'd been talking about you, Theo thought. Realizing she has sounded more wounded than she intends, she prickles. Not very kind. You're starting to talk like you belong here, even your accent. You're drunk. Are you gay? What? You haven't touched me in months. He makes no attempt to meet her eye. I've been busy, work, stress. If you told me now, if you came out to me, I think I'd believe you. You know, I wouldn't mind. You are drunk. Not enough. Theo knocks back the rest of her pint and cracks the glass down on the table. Laughs like a madwoman. I want to wake up with something to regret. You're depressed. I'm not depressed. I just have high standards. Come on then. She pushes her empty glass across the table. Do me a favour and lower them. Josh gets the message. Maybe he's relieved. Watching him go to the bar, Theo has a giddy sense of possibility. She might be wrong about everything. The world might be wrong about her. She isn't a waitress, isn't a temp. So what is she? There it is again. A fissure. A crack in the world that she needs to push until everything collapses. But seeing Josh waiting at the bar, she already feels sorry for him. She realizes she's been spoiling for a fight because she needs to prove she's worth one. London has made Josh irritable, but he's rarely angry. When he is, she knows that he cares and that she cares about him. At least, she hopes she does. Right now, she needs to know that more than ever. He brings her another pint. Sorry, she says. I think I'm feeling a bit lost, that's all. It was a pretty shit day. She's giving him a last opportunity for tenderness. It feels a proud, almost pyrrhic kindness. He nods. looking over her shoulder, blue light in his eyes. Pretty shit. The crack closes. Life goes on. Or so Theo thinks. In the morning, Josh has disappeared. You've been listening to The Terrible Business of Salmon Dusk. Book 1, How to Disappear Completely. Written and read by Myke Bartlett. You've been listening to a Burnt Toast production.